Hello and welcome to another video for Midas Touch Toys Games Collectibles. And today we're looking at something that's now quite old and is quite exciting. It was a terrific game and is now becoming quite collectible. We are looking at the 1981 release by Ideal Games from their series of tabletop games or board games. And this particular one we're looking at today is a game that's called Up Against Time. It's a quite straightforward, simple game, and you're racing against the clock to build the tower and shut the gate before your ball comes down and smacks all your tower to pieces. So yeah, I mean, great game, and I can remember years ago when we were young, we used to play it a lot in our family. On Saturday nights was game night for us when we were kids, and this was one of those games that we used to play. Now, this game has been released and re-released several times. The one we're looking at today is the 81 release, but I think the one we used to play with originally was from 1973. The game's exactly the same. It's just the different packaging. Ideal did have a tendency in those days to release a game, let it run its course, shelve it, and then come back several years later. And in this case, it was about 17 years later they repackaged it and released it again. So that's not uncommon for games to be re-released, and probably still happens now to some smaller scale. But yeah. Anyway, this is the box it comes in, and it says Up Against Time, and there you can see a couple of people playing the game, and he hasn't shut the gate quick enough, and the ball's knocked over his tower. It says match 'em and stack 'em. Time won't wait, so drop the gate before it's too late. This is a family game, ages 6 and up, Ideal Games, 2 or more players. Okay, that's the front of the box. I'm just going to turn the box to the side. In fact, let's lay it down and see what it says on the bottom, because the back side of the box is exactly the same as what's on the front side. So it says, a family game, ages 6 and up, Ideal, 2 or more players. It's game number 2023-0, and you've got the barcode on the bottom left-hand corner. It says Up Against Time, match 'em and stack 'em, time won't wait, so drop the gate before it's too late. And then you've got the same image at the front, on the side there, that we had on the front of the gate not being closed and the ball knocking down the tower. Okay, let's turn the box over to the other end. Is it exactly the same? Yep, it's exactly the same, so we won't read that again. And let's just look at the bottom of the box, and we've got the same again, and the top of the box. Yep, so it's the same all ends. So that is the box. There is some age spots on the one side of this box, I've noticed. I just noticed that, but that's quite common for cardboard from the age we're looking at. So remember, this is now what, 43 years old, coming up to 44 years old. Okay, I think what we're going to do now, we're going to open the box, we're going to take the game out, we're going to set it all up, and we're going to see how it works. Okay, so I've removed all the components from the box, and this is what we've got. So first of all, let's have a look at the instructions here. What are we looking at here? Okay, so it says, start the ball moving up against time for 2 or more players. Start the ball moving down the map. You'll be up against time as you try to stack the most barrels by matching the shapes. Stack the barrels as fast as you can, then drop the gate and stop the ball before it's too late. So object, to stack the most barrels and drop the gate before time runs out. So materials, we've got the game base, the tower, the sign, the bumpers, the barrel halves, the labels, the gate, the steel ball. Okay. It says remove barrel halves from only one plastic frame, making sure that all pieces have a smooth edge. Discard the frame. Okay, so we've already done that. That is all in the bag there, the barrels. And it says rearrange the 12 barrel halves as shown in diagram 1. Note that the top barrel halves have raised shapes and the bottom barrel halves have recessed shapes. Important, assemble barrel halves exactly as shown below. Diagram. Top halves, bottom halves. So snap together the top and bottom barrel halves as in diagram 2. Top raised shape, bottom recessed shape. Okay. says, check barrels to make sure you have assembled the top and bottom shapes exactly as shown in diagram 1. If you have made an error, take barrels apart by laying a barrel on its side on a table and pushing down on the side of the barrel with the palm of your hand. Repeat steps A, B and C so that you have a total of 12 complete barrels. Okay, so that's already been done because they're all assembled. It says press the 4 rubber bumpers into holes on bottom of game base in diagram 3. So they must already be on. Yes, they are. So you've got the 4 black stoppers on the bottom of the base. And it says snap sign into holes and holes behind tower in diagram 3. Okay, so the sign there. So there's holes. Oh, I see. So that goes in. Just zoom out a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. I'm just going to up the camera a little bit so you can see that there's holes on the top of this, and I've just popped that sign in there so that it's all in place, so you can see there. I haven't got the camera. I'm trying to use 2 hands, and then that sits down in the game base, and let's move that up there. And let's just move it all back. So that's all in position now. So there you can see the game base is all set there. I'm just trying to get everything into position so I don't knock anything over. Okay. So it says push gate onto post on tower right hand corner on tower, which is done. That's that on there. And we turn that over again, and it says set aside 1 barrel with a raised circle on top and a triangle on the bottom. Set aside 1 barrel with a raised triangle on top and a circle on the bottom. One at a time, peel off the special barrel labels and apply 1 label around the raised shape on both barrels that were set aside. So they must have already been done, I would wager. The game is played in 3 rounds. Each player takes 1 turn. In round 1, choose a player to go first. Mix up 10 barrels near the game base. Raise the gate to the up position, diagram 5. Let me just move this here so you can actually see what I'm reading. It might just be easier if we do that. It says place a special barrel, a barrel with a label on the base, raised shape down so that the raised shape fits into the slot that is the first barrel in your stack diagram 5. Okay, fine. Start the timer by dropping the steel ball into the starting slot on the upper left hand corner of the tower in diagram 6, which is there. As the ball rolls down the tower, you must stack 1 barrel at a time by matching the shapes on the end that was not used as the first barrel in the stack must be used as one of the last 5 barrels in the stack, in order that all the barrels may be used. Once the ball is rolling down the tower, you may not touch the ball or hold it back in any way. You must stack the barrels with only 1 hand. You may not support or hold onto barrels in the stack. You may drop the gate to stop the ball any time before the ball rolls to the bottom of the tower and clashes into the barrels. You may not stack any more barrels after you have dropped the gate. Turn ends when you drop the gate or when the ball crashes into the barrels. Score 1 point for each barrel that remains stacked after you drop the gate. Score no points for barrels that are knocked over by the ball or are accidentally knocked over during your turn. Winning. After each player has completed 3 turns, the player with the highest total score wins. Okay, straightforward game. Let's give it a whirl. Okay, so there's the ball. Let's just take the ball out of the bag. It is a ball bearing, and it seems to have gone a little bit rusty from being probably in a bag, but nevertheless, that's not going to make a blind bit of difference. And let's open the pack of the barrels, and let's lay them down. So there we go. So we have these in here. So those are the ones that we stop up. So that's all the barrels there. So what we need to do is we need to start the ball rolling and see how we get on. So let's do that right now, and let's see how well we fare. So on your marks, get set, go. There we go. I've got 2, 4, 6. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 I got. But I managed to stop the before it dropped down. So, yeah, let's take them off and let's have another go. Let's put that one back on for the bottom and let's mix those barrels up. Let's lift that off. And let's go again. So, we got 5 the first game. So, ready, steady, go. Oh, that didn't work, did it? That dropped out. Okay, so I don't know what happened there. Maybe it was I just didn't have it angled right. So let's take those 2 off. And we're going to start again. I'm knocking everything over here, so just bear with me. So here we go again. Let's start the ball rolling one more time. And let's see how we get on. Oh, no good. I knocked them over myself. So I got nothing that time. I was doing well there. I think I had 8 on. But let's go. Right, we got third game. And then we called it a day. So third one, and my sign's fallen off the back actually there. Let me just put the sign back on. I don't know why that falls off. That's maybe I just didn't push it in properly. Oh, I didn't push it in properly. There we go. It's in properly this time. Right, let's start again, shall we? Let's put that one back on. And away we go, dropping the ball one more time. Here we go. Oops. Okay, I think my table is not straight. So I think that's probably what's happening here. The ball's dropping down. So let's try one more time. Let's pop it in the corner. Oops. Yeah. I need to angle this up a little bit. I'm going to pop that under there. Maybe that'll give me a little bit of extra height. And we go again. Let's pop that in there because that's where we start. Okay, let's go. Oh my God. No good, no good. Absolutely no good. I got completely muddled up there, but never mind. That's the game. That's how it's supposed to play. And there we are. That's the game. I'm sure if we were sitting down at a table and we were all concentrating a bit more, we'd find it a little bit easier. But standing up, bending over the top of the camera and trying to build them and find them and put them together as well is, yeah, not the best of positions to do it in. Anyway, that's the game. I still enjoyed it. It does take me back to my childhood when we used to play these games on Saturday evenings. So, yeah, still enjoy it. Still was a bit of fun, and it'd be great to play with your kids. Okay, how well did these games do? Well, let's go back to the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. Ball games were massive. Most families had games night of some kind during the course over the weekend, and it was quite common with our family, or certainly my family, my cousins, my friends in the street. Everybody had games night. because it was a one night when all the family could get together and just play games and have fun. And it was, we used to have our cousins come round. So we'd play one of our games one week and they'd bring a game around the following week. So it was kind of like that. So sometimes it'd be Monopoly, sometimes it was Cluedo, sometimes it was Up Against Time, and all sorts of different games. Rebound was another one that we played. Scrabble, of course. And there was many games that we played. Sometimes it was just cards. But it was game night on a I don't think it was every Saturday. I think it was every other Saturday, actually. But anyway, that was back then. So games were a huge thing back in those days. Remember, we only had 3 television channels. We had ITV, BBC One and BBC Two. That was it. Nothing else. There was no internet streaming. There was no computer games. There was nothing like that. So literally, the games you had were board games or games like this, activity games, we call these. So it was massive. There was I can remember as a kid going into the toy stores and finding shelves and shelves and shelves full of games, because that's what it was. That's what and they made so many games, especially as getting towards Christmas. You would see an abundance of new games come out over Christmas. Some lasted, some didn't, or you'd see old games being repackaged and coming back on the shelves. So that was, as I say, that was a thing that that the games company did back in the day to keep the games moving and keep them from one generation to another, I suppose. So games were huge. Yeah, everybody in anybody's cupboard back in those days had a cupboard full of games. Now moving forward to, and this is 1981. But when we used to play this game in the mid 70s, really. So let's go forward from 81 to today, which is 43 years later. Games, board games, game nights, really something that very rarely happens anymore. I'm sad to say. You might find at Christmas people do tend to play a few games, have a bit of fun with games rather than watch TV all the time. But generally, it's not a common thing like it used to be, because time and technology has moved on so much. Games now are mainly played on Mega Drives and Sega games and PlayStations and consoles like that, or even on your phones. So board games, they haven't become a thing of the past, but they're certainly nowhere near as popular as they used to be when we were young. Which is a shame, really, because there's a lot of fun in actually physically doing things on a game rather than just twiddling your fingers and knocking some buttons and what have you. But there we are. A different time, different technology, and a different mentality when it comes to playing games. Does this particular game come up very often on the platforms? Well, I'd say it probably does come up a fair amount. As I say, back in the day, there was bundles and bundles of these games produced, so there must be lots of them out there. When I looked on platforms, I saw probably 2 or 3 of these games. Not so much these older ones, in actual fact. And when I think about this now, there was a later version of this game, and that's on the platforms quite a lot. You see that one quite a lot. The 1973 one, I couldn't find any of those on any of the platforms. And this one, I think I found one other on the platform. So the older ones, not so often. The newer games, which is basically the same game, it's just repackaged again. And they might have made it a little bit more robust on the new ones, but really it's the same game. So the newer ones come up fairly often. The older ones, not so often. My preference is these older games because they have a real distinct sort of nostalgia for me. So I like to play the older ones, the original games. So this particular one doesn't come up very often. Newer versions do, and the older versions you just don't see. However, we at Midas Touch have managed to find a couple of these older games, and they are available to purchase on the Midas Touch website, and they're exactly the same as this. There's 2 of them, exactly the same as this, all in working condition, all complete with all the pieces, and play exactly the same way. And you can get those very simply by clicking the link below. It will take you straight to the website where you'll be able to find this and many other vintage board games and table games, and many other vintage toys, games and collectibles come to that. There's over 10,000 products currently available on the website for you to view and purchase at your leisure. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because we're uploading videos for every new item that goes into the website. There will be something for everybody, and I am absolutely positive that this is something that you're not going to want to miss, because we literally have thousands and thousands of new products which we're shooting videos for and uploading on a daily basis. So if there's something in particular you're looking for, something old that you've never been able to find, something quirky you might want to buy for a friend, or perhaps just something from your childhood that you'd like to own again to help you recuperate those long lost childhood memories, stay tuned, keep watching, because you never know the next item we upload could be that item you've been looking for. Okay, that is it for me on this particular item. I do hope you've enjoyed reviewing this wonderful, wonderful old Up Against Time game with me. Thank you for watching, and we will see you again next video. So bye for now.